The iOS 18. Well, now Apple has released it, and it's time to see what you think about it. We'll go into the new details of what this hardware offers. You tune into the BS3 Presents The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson. Well, good morning, Shifter. It is Wednesday. Wow, this week has gone by fast. June 12th, 2024, and welcome to BS3 Presents The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson. And just simply sit back and relax because for the next 60 minutes, you will be, enthralled, entertained, educated, informed, and most importantly, you will be excited, I guess, of life. And on tap for today, we're going to touch on Lady Justice. How does that physically fit into, I guess you could say, the spiritual landscape? We'll also touch on, like I said, the iOS 18. Apple unveiled that in this past week, and we'll tell you what things you should look for. And we'll also touch on Hunter Biden. And there was this trial in Delaware. And he was found guilty of it. Yeah. That is what's on tap for the rest of the program. But for now, let's start you up. And here is what's going on in the world today. 3 people and a suspect shooter have been shot in Atlanta, and actually Peachtree Mall in Atlanta. The city's mayor and police said Tuesday afternoon that in a subsequent ex post between the mayor and the APD, they said that one of the 4 people shot is believed to be the suspected shooter. They wanted to say, quote, all involved are still alive, close quote. And the mayor in a follow-up post said that he told people to avoid the area in general. The Peachtree Center food court, that's where it took place, is located in the Peachtree Center on Peachtree Road, downtown Atlanta. The latest season of the Emmy Award satirical superhero drama The Boys is almost here. The show, based on the comic book of the same name and starring Carl Urban, Jack Quaid, and Anthony Starr, follows a group of vigilantes who are trying to take down corrupt superheroes abusing their superpowers. Now, season 1 began streaming on Prime Video, Amazon streaming service in 2019. Now, the show's inspired other shows set in the same universe, including Gen V, and that premiered September of last year. Diabolical, an animated series that started in March of 2022, and 7 on 7, a web series in July back in 2021. The first 3 episodes of season 4 of The Boys will begin June 13th on Prime Video, with new episodes adding weekly thereafter. The season finale will be Thursday, July 18th, and they announced that after this season, the next one will be the last. 2 people have pled guilty to federal drug charges stemming from the fentanyl poisoning death of a 1-year-old baby and the hospitalization of 3 other children under the age of 3 at a Bronx daycare where they ran a fentanyl operation. Officials said in September, 4 children were hospitalized of suspected opioid exposure that occurred at the Divino Niño daycare center. 1-year-old died at the hospital. That was identified. 3 other children survived after that treatment. 4 adults were charged with federal crimes in relation to the illegal drug operation running out of the daycare center. Let's see, you have one who's the husband of the daycare owner. He pled guilty on Monday to conspiracy to distribute narcotics, resulting in death and serious bodily injury, in possession of narcotics with intent to distribute, resulting in death and serious bodily injury. The plea came the morning the trial was set to begin, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York. An 8-month-old baby who disappeared in Kentucky remained missing yesterday, and 5 people, including the child's grandmother and parents, were arrested in relation to her disappearance. Kentucky State Police reported little Maya Tucker, was missing after troopers conducted a welfare check and search warrant on June 6th at an Ohio County, Kentucky home and did not find her. The baby, who lived in Reynolds Station, has not been identified by her family since the end of April, according to an arrest citation obtained by the Louisville Courier Journal. Reynolds Station is an unincorporated community in northwest Kentucky, just south of the Indiana-Kentucky state lines. Dr. Tony Evans, a well-known evangelical Texas pastor, has stepped down from leadership at his church. In a statement posted Sunday to the church's website, Evans, the senior pastor of Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship in Dallas, said he is stepping down due to an unnamed, quote, sin, close quote. His statement reads as follows, quote, "The foundation of our ministry has always been our commitment to the Word of God as the absolute supreme standard to truth, to which are to confirm our lives. When we fall short of that standard due to sin, we are required to repent and restore our relationship with God. A number of years ago, I fell short of that standard. I am, therefore, required to apply the same biblical standard of repentance and restoration to myself that I have applied to others." Close quote. Now, Evans said he has not committed a crime. However, he, quote, "did not use righteous judgment in my actions." Close quote. Father's Day is this Sunday, and Krispy Kreme is celebrating accordingly. Now, the company already announced 4 $1 balls that they were actually giving in conjunction to an order that you place there. Now, the company announced yesterday an all-new donut collection celebrating dads, and it will be available at participating shops throughout the country from Friday to Sunday. The collection includes the 2 flavors here: the blue and white drizzle, an original glazed donut dipped in white icing and drizzled in blue and chocolate flavored icings, and chocolate iced bow tie. An original glazed donut dipped in chocolate icing and decorated with a blue icing bow tie. Additionally, as part of the Father's Day celebration, Krispy Kreme is offering free delivery with a $5 minimum purchase at participating shops, again, from Friday until Sunday. Speaking of foods, a popular ice cream chain is facing a lawsuit over deceptive advertising after a Long Island woman discovered its pistachio ice cream may not actually contain pistachios. Jenna Marie Duncan of Farmingdale, New York, filed the class action lawsuit against Cold Stone Creamery, saying that she purchased pistachio ice cream from a Cold Stone location in Levittown, New York, July of 2022, and, quote, reasonably believed that the pistachio ice cream she purchased from defendant contained pistachio, close quote. However, Duncan later learned the company's website that there were no pistachios in the ice cream, but rather pistachio flavoring that contained water, ethanol, propylene glycol, natural and artificial flavor, yellow 5 and blue 1, according to the lawsuit. Caitlin Clark didn't make the U.S. women's basketball team roster for the 2024 Paris Olympiad, and the chair of the team selection committee is proud, in her words, of how the selection process went. Jen Rosati, the chair of the women's national team committee for the U.S. basketball, didn't specify exactly why Clark didn't make the roster, but noted she didn't take her into consideration, saying, quote, "There's been a 3-year process for us. Caitlin, in addition to other players that didn't make the team, have been evaluated on the whole body of work. There were definitely some unique circumstances involving and surrounding Caitlyn, but at the end of the day, I'm proud our committee stayed honed in on the selection criteria. None of those criteria talk about TV viewership or marketability, close quote. And, well, didn't also talk about ancient race either. But I digress. In other sports news, Connecticut men's basketball coach Dan Hurley will not take the Los Angeles Lakers job, and he turned down that offer, according to a person with knowledge of the situation. ESPN had reported that the Lakers offered Hurley a 6-year, $70 million contract that would have made him one of the NBA's highest paid coaches. The Lakers were clandestine about their interest in Hurley until last week, when it was revealed the Lakers had targeted Hurley and were poised to make a major offer to lure the successful college coach to the NBA. The 51-year-old head coach of UConn met with the Lakers on Friday and left Los Angeles impressed by the offer, according to ESPN. However, he's going to stay at Storrs, Connecticut, to try to make a back-to-back-to-back championship run. Well, congratulations to the coach. I hope everything is well with him. Now, as we turn our attention to weather across the United States, as powered by the Weather Channel, it will be mostly sunny and 66 in Seattle. It will be in the Midwest, a little wet. Sun and thunderstorm mix with a high of 86 in Minneapolis. It will be mostly sunny and 89 in Chicago. It will be sunny and 91 in St. Louis. It will be partly cloudy and 85 in Detroit. Now, out on the East Coast, it will be partly cloudy and 73 in Boston, partly cloudy and 78 in New York, partly cloudy and 82 in the nation's capital. Down south, we are talking about thunderstorms and 84 in Miami. It will be partly cloudy and 89 in Atlanta. It will be partly cloudy and 85 in Memphis, partly cloudy and 90 in New Orleans. Over in the southwest, it will be partly cloudy and 92 in San Antonio. It will be mostly sunny and 89 in Dallas. And all the west stuff you can handle yet again for Houston with a high of 89. East Texas needs to dry out. Wow. Over in the Rockies, mostly sunny with a thunderstorm mix with a high of 95 in Denver. The high spot of the country is in the desert. 111, it'll be the high in Phoenix and sunny. It will be sunny in 110 in Las Vegas, and out in the West Coast, it will be mostly sunny and 65 in the Bay Area, and it will be partly cloudy skies and 78 in Los Angeles. Well, that does it for the weather for today, and now you have been properly started up. Later on the morning shift with Cole Johnson, Apple has unleashed their latest operation system. We'll talk about that in detail. And also we'll talk about Lady Justice and God, how does that relate at all? But coming up next, Hunter Biden makes history yesterday, and not the history we like or he would like. Tell me where you've heard that before. You're watching The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson on the BS3 Network. We'll be right back right after this.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Drew Willingham.
In this case, yeah, you put the blame on Kyle Shanahan for apparently not preparing the team enough for the overtime rules, supposedly.
Cole Johnson.
Peyton was considered the winner, and he was the darling of all darlings for Gerald.
With a special appearance by Tyrone Alizé McDummy.
Ain't nobody calling me. Text delete, 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 delete.
Join these two football enthusiasts as they give you Total Football Talk. Live every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central on the Sertoba Media and the Comey Media YouTube channels. The moderator.
As woman, you can't be too friendly because the minute you're friendly, then they think you flirting.
The level head.
I think so that thing is over. So I'm not looking at men like that anymore.
The truth slayer.
Okay, what in the HPV yeast infection is going on over here?
The X factor.
So I'd rather you tell me everything up front and let's start fresh.
The intersection of life and spirituality never sounded this good. BS3 Network proudly presents Life Happens. Live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central.
Welcome back to the Morning Shift with Cole Johnson on the BS3 Network and also on Real Wise Radio. Glad that we are programmed live to bring this to you on Real Wise Radio as well as the BS3 Network. So two networks, one that you can see and one that you can hear, is carrying this particular program. And we are so happy and we feel so blessed over here in bringing what we feel is straight, regular, raw, and uncut journalism to you, because you deserve to be informed as to how to think, not being told what to think. And over to the Shift Nation we go. And of course, those who are understanding that I'm trying to inform us on how to think and not tell us what to think. My man Playmaker, he says it's simple. Good morning to have the Morning Shift with Cole Johnson. You doggone right. And it's a good morning in return to have you join me, my brother. I'm so glad you're here. And look, knockout content with Playmaker. He has been on it with all NBA action with the playoffs and the WNBA beginning. And next month, he will be covering the Paris Olympiad, the basketball portion of the Olympics. And of course, the Olympics start July 26th. And I think the action on the basketball court starts July 28th, I believe. So he might be a correspondent here. You don't know how things will roll, but we shall see. Cool McCain says, Shift Nation, stand up. That's right. Another shifter. And from one hard-working guy, content creation guy to another, it's wonderful to have you here, Cool. And Ryan McCarthy of No Credentials Acquired fame. Good show last night, sir. And if you feel the need and you feel obliged to want to have sports content, even sports content with the bent, because they're actually doing movie reviews of sports movies, if I'm not mistaken, sir. No Credentials Acquired every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. So glad to see all of you at Shift Nation rep the way you all rep. Makes my job easier because it's great to be amongst wonderful individuals. I'm sure that is what Hunter Biden is saying right now. Unfortunately, he is grasping for straws as to those individuals, as he has been found guilty of his gun charges. We'll delve a little bit more into that. But what does that mean for his immediate, forget distant, what does that mean for his immediate future? Well, in just my thoughts, I'm going to touch on that, how it might impact the election coming up for his father, and other things related to Hunter Biden. Well, if you didn't catch it, if you didn't hear it, if you didn't see the announcement, or if you didn't see the breaking news, a federal jury convicted Hunter Biden of federal gun charges. And I did say he made history. Here's the history he made. It's an historic first for the offspring of a sitting president. And that's the history he made after the trial featuring enriching testimony, emotional, I may add, about his drug use from his ex-wife and sister-in-law / girlfriend. I digress. President Joe Biden is watching his son possibly facing 25 years in prison for 3 charges. 1, lying on a federal screening form about his drug use. 2, lying to a gun dealer and possessing the gun. 3, although he's a first-time offender, nonviolent offenders typically get shorter sentences. But the 54-year-old businessman and attorney's case came after a plea deal which fell apart back in July of last year that could have resolved gun and tax charges without even facing prison time. But Hunter Biden still faces yet another federal trial, and that begins in September in California. So we dealt with the guns. That one will deal with the taxes. Whew, man. Hunter Biden, in the statement following the verdict, said he was, quote, disappointed by the outcome, but grateful, close quote, for his family and loved ones. Biden's criminal charges coincide with his father's campaigning for re-election. Now, Hunter has been he's long been a suspect, I should say, of misinformation online, with social media users speculating about his drug use, financial dealings, and federal indictments. I mean, come on. I mean, there's a video of him with the girl in the bathtub, and next thing you know, it's panned to about 3 lines of blow and a weight scale to weigh crack. And no, that is not allegedly. That's a video out there. You can find it, and it is viral. Has been viral for years. From miscaptioned videos to false claims about his conviction, viral claims have repeatedly misrepresented the president's son and his relationship with the law. But in the wake of Biden's conviction on 3 federal gun charges, USA Today decided to fact-check some of the false and misleading claims that have gone and spread most widely and what actually might be true. The first one, Joe Biden didn't address Hunter Biden's case in his first comments since the verdict. Now, since Biden gave his remarks on gun violence in Washington on Tuesday, hours before his son was convicted in his felony gun trial, the president spoke at Everytown for Gun Safety Actions Fund, Gun Sense University, where he was called for banning assault weapons, instituting universal background checks, and checking other gun control measures. Now, Joe was specifically addressing gun violence in his remarks. Hunter Biden was not accused of physically harming others in the felony case. Now, what kind of gun did Mr. Hunter Biden buy? Well, the gun that he bought and held on to for 11 days back in 2018 was a 38 caliber Cold Cobra, known as a 38 Special. What are we now on as back in the 70s TV special or movie? Lord have mercy. Thinking it's up in Harlem. I'm sorry. The revolver is a rim center fired cartridge designed by Smith & Wesson that could range in price from a couple hundred to a couple thousand. Handgun is known for its accuracy and often is used for small game hunting, recreational target shooting, and personal defense. The president's son told Delaware State Police he bought it for target practice 6 years ago. Now, can his father pardon him? Well, Joe said he wouldn't do such a thing while on trial, so you have that. But ABC anchor David Muir, interviewing Biden back last week for the 80th anniversary of D-Day, asked whether he would accept the outcome of his son's trial. The president said yes, he would. And was asked if he would rule out the pardoning of his son. Joe said yes. Now, was Hunter Biden discharged from the military? Now, less than a year after he was commissioned in 2013, Hunter was administratively discharged from the Navy after testing positive for cocaine on a drug test. On the presidential debate stage in 2020, President Donald Trump falsely claimed that Hunter Biden was dishonorably discharged from the Navy, saying, quote, Hunter got thrown out of the military. He was thrown out dishonorably discharged for cocaine use, close quote. An administrative discharge is standard procedure for failing a drug test. It is different from a dishonorable discharge, which is usually the result of misconduct, which it pretty much was. But again, I digress. Hunter Biden's guilty verdict also adds to the president's distractions. Well, Hunter Biden's felony conviction on Tuesday could continue to distract the president during pivotal weeks along the campaign trail in his re-election bid the next 5 months, with the first presidential debate against former President Donald Trump looming 2 weeks from now. Although not part of his father's campaign and not on the ballot himself, Hunter Biden's conviction on 3 related gun charges could also complicate Joe Biden's campaign, labeling his opponent Trump a convicted felon who should not return to the Oval Office. Now, what is next for Hunter Biden? Still pending for the 54-year-old sentence is the sentencing, his potential appeal, and a Supreme Court case that could overturn the law behind his charges. The president's son, a lawyer, businessman, and author, also faces a second federal trial, as I said earlier. That will be in L.A. Now, he currently faces a maximum of 25 years in prison for 3 charges, and I mentioned those 3 earlier. Now, what do I have to say about this in general? Well, this is pretty much what I have to say. Privilege comes at a price. Now, Wise and I talked about this on mentality, and we briefly touched on it, but I will touch on it just a little bit further. When you think that you own the whole world, when you think that you're on top of the world, you believe that you can do any and everything, you believe the law doesn't apply to you. Well, I think what Mr. Biden is understanding, actually, I think what both Mr. Bidens are understanding, but more the son here, what Hunter Biden, I think, is now understanding, is that when the world gets on top of you, you have no other choice but to be crushed under the weight because of the decisions that you made. And those are just my thoughts. Now, if you want to hear about shows that may touch on topics such as life and spirituality, I got the show for you. Join Grace, Kim, Tanya, and Felicia as the 4 ladies, and maybe even a guest. We'll talk about that intersection of life and spirituality. It is Life Happens. They will always come on every Wednesday and sometimes live. So they may be live tonight, but they definitely will be on Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on Roku TV via BS3 TV, the BS3 Network YouTube channel, and the BS3 Network Facebook page. That is Life Happens live tonight and every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on Roku TV. You can hit the BS3 logo on the Roku TV app, BS3TVLive.com, the YouTube channel that houses the BS3 Network, and the BS3 Network Facebook page. Coming up next, the iOS 18. It has been unveiled. What should we look out for? This is the Morning Shift with Cole Johnson on the BS3 Network and also Real Wise Radio. We'll be right back right after this.
This is a BS3 Network presentation.
I want to do a TED Talk, but I don't have anything to talk about yet. I'm getting there.
Life is for the living. We're not here that long.
You can learn anything you want to learn without any money spent.
What do I really enjoy? What do I really want out of life?
I am your host, WIZE.
Are you in a life holding pattern? Well, this is for you. Welcome to the Stuck in My Mind podcast. Live every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central. Whether it's the men's college game,
the way that this season has been going, Yeah, anything is possible.
The women's college game.
And how passionate Angel Reese was at that press conference. They got their mojo now.
The WNBA.
AJ Wilson, Brianna Stewart 1-2, followed by Brittany Griner, Aaliyah Boston, Jackie Young.
Or the NBA.
The Lakers had a 0.8 chance of winning. And then what happened in the fourth quarter? LeBron James by himself outdid the Clippers.
You will get any and all of the information right at your fingertips or your earlobes. Join the Playmaker as he breaks down all things basketball in Shooting Lights Out on the Playmaker's blog, network, YouTube channel, and where you can find podcasts. This is a BS3 Network presentation. Adrian Shawan.
There was a man talking about where the homebodies at? Where the women at? And the women was stitching it. It was like, we at home.
Scotty Knox.
Another pet peeve of mine, right? First date, if you show up with the ponytail that come out at the top of your head, it will not be a second date.
Butler.
I want people to think independently and freely. She's not. $100 for lunch. I almost got up and walked off.
A show that asks only one question. Is it Wednesday yet? Live every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Central.
See everybody talking like they doing what we doing, but these brothers is rare and they ain't moving like we moving. And everywhere we go.
Welcome back to the Morning Shift with Cole Johnson on the BS3 Network and also on Real Wise Radio. Glad that I'm doing both those simulcasts. I actually can say that for the first time. It's a wonderful thing. Back to Shift Nation we go, and Playmaker says, look, yes, you're correct, Cole. Team USA, the men's play beginning July 28th. The women, they begin July 29th. And to be clear, Playmaker will cover both the men's and the women's. He discriminates against nobody. So he'll cover that. And of course, we will do the same. So check out that. He goes on to say, we will be talking about Shooting Lights Out. We'll be talking about the committee's statement on omitting Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Later on today, Shooting Lights Out, that will be on the Playmakers Blog Network YouTube channel. And then you got Snowman who says, look, in wound care, but I'm still part of Shift Nation. You doggone right you are. And prayers out to you, my brother. And quick sidebar. When you see this gentleman, understand if you're not a part of Snowman the Morning Army, understand something. This man was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer back in April 2022. Well, actually earlier than that. But he was like December 2021. But he got operated on in April 2022. 10 months later, he was in remission. So you're dealing with not a cancer survivor, but a cancer thriver. So when you do see this man, always understand that he has a gift that most people would love to have, a gift of a second chance at life. And he also says later on this morning, the one and only Ivan Dawkins, or King Doc, will join this morning. Well, it's glad that you'll be having him on the show. And to King Doc, glad to see you and two of your three sisters back last night, the Queen 3 and King. They did their first episode live in about 2 months, and understandably so. I mean, the man is busy. He covers the Stars and the Mavericks during the playoff run. So basically, he's almost persona non grata from about mid-April to whenever the Mavericks and Stars get bounced to the playoffs. He focuses more on the Stars because, well, let's be honest, you got to have a little bit of that flavor when it comes to covering hockey. But yes, that'll be great, and I'll be tuning into that later on today. The iOS, when you hear about anything about the operating system that is Apple, sometimes you're happy and sometimes you cringe. It depends on the person who owns the product. But What is there to offer for the new operating system that is the iOS 18? Well, in today's cover story, we'll untouch that, all of the new things that are coming into the system, and the updates and the improvements because of iOS 18. Well, I'm sure that you're happy to know that Apple announced this last week. New features coming to iPhones via the iOS 18 and the company's AI-powered intelligence system called Apple Intelligence at the Worldwide Developers Conference. That was this past week, including scheduled iMessages, interface customizability, and one-of-a-kind emojis. I think you'll get a chuckle at what the emojis will be called. With the iOS 18 and Apple Intelligence coming later this year, according to Apple executive Craig Federighi, iPhone users will have access to a smarter, more customizable, and more powerful mobile operating system, saying, quote, "We're just getting started, and I hope you're as excited as I am about the road ahead," close quote. Now, here's some of those new features coming via iOS 18 and Apple Intelligence that has been unveiled this past week. Now, if you're asking when will iOS 18 be released and what phones can use it, well, Apple announced that iOS 18 will debut this fall as a free download for iPhone X and later users. Now, when iPhone users unlock their devices, they are typically met with a wallpaper and a ton of apps. But with iOS 18, users will be able to further customize their home screen in a various amount of ways, including in that would be, 1, putting app icons and widgets anywhere on the home screen grid. 2, turning the iPhone on dark mode, which now charges app icons. And 3, changing the tint color of the home screen. The control center is also more customizable, as iPhone users will be able to group their favorite controls, including ones created by third-party apps. The flashlight camera shortcuts on the lock screen will also be changeable. Speaking of changeable, there we go. I digress. Now, scheduled messages and more tap-back reactions coming also with iOS 18. Now, the Messages app will have a lot of new features coming thanks to iOS 18 and Apple Intelligence. And Apple leaders announced this past week scheduled messages, emoji tapbacks, and text effects were announced as improvements to the Message app. The text effects will also allow users to visually amplify their messages, while emoji tapbacks are ways to respond to text messages more expressively. Rich Communication Services, or RCS, it's another new addition to Messages coming via iOS 18, and the improvement will allow for smoother text messaging between iPhone and Android users. And with the help of Apple Intelligence, users will be able to create custom Genmoji to match any moment. All users will have to do is provide a description, and a Genmoji will appear along with other options to choose from. Genmojis can also be added inline in Message. And also another feature available in Message is courtesy of Apple Intelligence, is users' ability to create, quote, total original images, close quote, of people in sketch and animated forms. Apple used a contact's birthday as an example, and a custom sketch was created and sent via Messages app. Now, another thing you can add, Photos. They're having a big redesign. Actually, Photos is receiving its biggest redesign ever, as they said, as the app will now be, quote, unified to a single view, close quote. Filter options are coming to the app, and users will be able to search through photos by the month or year that were taken. Screenshots will also be filtered out. A collections feature is now included and will also allow users to browse through customizable sections. A carousel that updates daily. It's another feature which will allow users to see their favorite photos in a new format. Now, the Map app will also be able to separate emails into sections and make users' inboxes more organized, like primary for personal and time-sensitive emails, transactions for confirmations and receipts, updates for news and social notifications, and promotions for marketing emails and coupons. A new email digest feature will also make skimming important emails easier. Oh, and then you'll have Safari. They'll be able to make it easier with the gist of articles or web pages quickly by finding key information and summarizing. For example, Safari will summarize a long article for users or find the location of a restaurant just by its name appearing on the web page. Oh, and then of course there's security. The Passwords app will make it easier for users to store and access their passwords, passkeys, Wi-Fi passwords, and verification codes. The app will also tell users if their passwords are weak or have been used multiple amount of times. The iOS 18 update will also help users' privacy by allowing them to hide apps and lock apps where it would require a passcode or Face ID to open them. And then you have an advanced Siri. Due to Apple Intelligence, Siri will be more advanced than ever by being able to take actions inside apps on users' behalf, answer thousands of questions whether users want to know how to do something on their Apple devices, maintain conversational context so users don't have to repeat certain things when scheduling events or sending messages, better understand demands even if users stumble over their words, like I've been doing in this segment, or take action when something new appears on the screen, such as updating a contact whenever a user receives text message containing a new address. Well, normally Apple has these unveiling press conferences or I should say like TED Talks, I guess. It normally comes about this time of year. Normally it's about the first or second week of June. Of course, that was established by Steve Jobs, the late CEO and founder of Apple. And well, it looks like if you are one who operates an Apple, I think you all like what y'all will see. So if you have an Apple phone, I think it was iPhone X and later, I think you might like these additions. If not, oh well. And that applies to me too, because I don't own an Apple. Oh, but what I do own is a heart to smile, and a soul to laugh, and that's what you will receive with these three. That's right. Join Adrian Shawan, Butler, and Scotty Knotts. And I have something special to say to you, Scotty, after this. When you watch them tonight, is it Wednesday yet? Live tonight and every Wednesday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Central, on Roku TV via BS3, the YouTube channel that adorns the BS3 network, and the Facebook page which adorns the BS3 network. Is it Wednesday yet? Live this Wednesday, every Wednesday, and tonight, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Central. On Roku TV, just hit the BS3 logo on the Roku TV app, BS3TVLive.com, the BS3 Network YouTube channel, the BS3 Network Facebook page. And to my boy Scotty Knotts, prayers to you on your continued recovery. I know you had surgery. You went out. You came into it like a champ. You came out of it like a bigger champ. So glad that you are here with us, and you're going to be here with us healthily for some time to come. And I look forward to hearing you and your story. And hopefully I can have all three of you or any one of you come on the show, and we can have an interview to discuss all that is it Wednesday yet? Coming up next, Lady Justice and spirituality? How does that mix? You've tuned into the Morning Shift with Cole Johnson on the BS3 Network. We're also on Real Wise Radio. We'll be right back right after this.
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze car.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crown they get, they palm it and do 2 circles, and that translates to, I can be the black people.
As she takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific Time Zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Oh, I'm sorry. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel. Kentucky, home of great natural scenery and Churchill Downs. The Bluegrass State has offered 3 jewels. The University of Kentucky.
And the Kentucky coronation is complete.
Terry Brown.
Some people from Louisville, from Kentucky, I don't like the Derby. Okay, cool. Like, all right, I'm going to keep it moving.
And Vinny Hardy.
Us growing up on the border, we all went to school with Tennessee fans. We all had some teachers that was Tennessee fans.
BS3 Network proudly presents 2 men with Kentucky on their minds and all of the sports matters at hand. Cats Talk Wednesday. Live every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central. Are you looking for something to do on your lunch break? Well, there's a show on the BS3 Network that has only 4 words to say to you.
We ready, we ready, we ready for y'all. We ready, we ready, we ready.
The Lunch Break, powered by JM&E. Live weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central.
Welcome back to the Morning Shift with Cole Johnson. I am Cole Johnson. Yes, that's what's coming up next. But coming up now, I have to address Shift Nation once again. And Cool coming with the bar to drop the mic. He says, ironically, Hunter Biden still could become president. Shake my head. That is true, sir. Yes, he can. Now, in certain states, he can't vote for that president, though. But he can still run for the presidency. Yes. How that, from the make it make sense category, there it is. In probably most states, can't vote for the president, but as a felon, you can still run for the presidency. Because all it says is you have to be a naturalized citizen for 14 years and be 35 years old. Doesn't talk about anything about criminal records. Anyway, glad for that segue, actually, because, this talk about Hunter Biden. And last month, the hush money trial with Donald Trump. We've been dealing with things of justice nature, judicial nature. How does that fit when it comes to not religious, but spiritual matters or Christian matters even? Well, welcome to Lighting the Way. So here we are. We are now days removed from the Hunter Biden trial being over. Well, I should say the first of his two being over. We are roughly a few weeks removed from the first of 4 trials of Donald Trump. Both men were found guilty of their respective trials, and both men are facing multiple amount of felonies. But how does that play into the kingdom of God? I mean, we are talking about things that don't normally jive. I mean, this is talking about politics. No. Remember, I said justice. Both of them were in the court of law, and they had to deal with the punishment that was meted by a jury of 12, presided by a judge, and having to be fought for by the defense and fought against by the prosecution. So the court of law played itself out, and we got the results. Whether we like it or not, that is what happened. But what does God say about justice and the judicial system in general? Well, this is what he has to say about it. Now, I could have climbed into many different books later in the Bible, but I wanted to actually harp on something earlier in the Bible, like Deuteronomy. So in the 16th chapter, 20th verse in Deuteronomy, it says, "Justice and only justice you shall follow, that you may live and inherit the land that the Lord your God is giving you." I'll say it again. "Justice and only justice you shall follow, that you may live and inherit the land that the Lord your God is giving you." Now, why should any of us follow justice at all? That is one simple answer. Complex question, simple answer. We should follow justice because God is the ultimate judge. I mean, it does say in the Bible, "Judge not, lest ye be judged." And no, it's not discernment. Discernment and having prejudicial understanding of, okay, you're good or bad, or you're destined to go to heaven or hell. That's not what God's talking about. Those are two different things. We're taught to discern in the Bible. We're taught not to judge or condemn, I should say. I think it's a better word to put. We're taught to not condemn, but we're taught to discern. Those are two different words and two different ideas, two different things. But we should follow justice because God is the ultimate judge. As we've heard in Tupac's song, "Only God Can Judge Me," and you've heard that in conversation all over the world. To an extent, that is true. It shouldn't be considered a throwaway, but it is true. Only God can judge every last one of us. What examples do we have in today's justice being adopted from the biblical times? Well, I'm glad you asked that. I think in both cases, we've got a chance, both the Hunter Bidens and the Donald Trump's case. I think we sort of got a slight understanding as to how that would be. Remember Solomon. So he just got to be king of Israel. So I mean, the crown is still shimmering. The gold is still shining. I mean, he's still a virile young man on the throne. He's not the weathered guy that wrote Ecclesiastes. He's young, he's virile, and he's just gotten everything that he prayed for that God has given him, which was a whole lot of wisdom and a whole lot of money, or a whole lot of gold. And so it was these two women who were disputing the maternity of this son of theirs. So both of them plead their case to Solomon, and he listened to them both, and he studied them. He didn't say much. He just looked at the body language and listened to the inflection and the tones of each mother, or each prospective mother. So the first mother had this tone of this heifer here. The second mother had this, I don't care what, just as long as my son is okay. And so Solomon, thinking quick on his feet, grabbed a sword and he says, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. Tell you what, I'm gonna take this sword. And you see that beautiful young son of yours? I'm gonna split him in two. And so you, woman number one, you can take one half. Woman number two, you can take the other half. Well, it was designed for exactly what the purpose was done. Mother number two, who was the real mother, covered her son and said, no, don't kill him. Don't kill him, please. And so, of course, Solomon then justly awarded the son to the rightful woman who was his mother. And today's justice is somewhat like that. You know, it is that way where we hear two sides, and the jury basically is like Solomon with the double-edged sword, saying, okay, we're going to decide this way, and we're going to see how people react. So here you go. Now, in that scripture in Deuteronomy, it says that you may live and inherit the earth of the land that the Lord has given you. So what land is God talking about us inheriting? Well, it's talking about inheriting heaven. Now, of course, God is the purveyor and the owner of heaven, but we will be in heaven probably in a better way than we are here on earth, because Jesus did say, in my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. And that you can find that in the gospel according to Jesus Christ. Gospel of Jesus Christ according to John, chapter 14, verse 3. So whenever you think you may you may live and inherit in the land that the Lord your God is giving you, well, yeah, you can think about the earth, because God will give you land on earth too. But remember, we're supposed to think about things that are above the earth. We're supposed to set our sights for things above the earth, not just things on the earth. So we had to set our sights higher. So when it's like the inherit the land the Lord has given us, we're inheriting being citizens of heaven. Now, who should the sense of justice cover in this world? Another good question. The answer should cover everyone. Just like it says that the justice on this earth is supposed to cover, the justice of God should cover everybody. So when justice actually works, it's supposed to be the blind lady with the scale and not judging a thing except the testimony that's given forth to see if someone is full of truth. And I think the judge in Georgia for this word, or if the person is full of mendacity or full of lies, basically. Justice is one of the key threads to a Christian life, period. And the sooner any of us and all of us understand that, the better we'll all be. Justice is supposed to prevail and help us all live a wonderful life. Well, that is all the time I have. Thank you so much for joining me, Shifter. I am so blessed to do this for you. Man, thank you. And I hope everything works well with you for the rest of your day. For all of us here at the Real Wise Radio and the BSU Network and the Morning Chef, I am Cole Johnson, here to say in parting, as I always do, if you lack commitment, you will never start. If you lack consistency, you'll never finish. And if you lack love, you most certainly will never conquer. Until we meet again in 23 Hours Shifter, God bless you. I love you. So long.